Hey, how's it going?
Good. What's up?
I want to talk about Boone and the Yankees. Well, specifically Boone. And unfortunately, sorry to say, but I'm a Yankees fan, and I'm hoping that the Yankees get swept or 2 out of 3 this series so Boone could get fired. I've been feeling like this for a while. It's not just recent. It's not about, the Yankees are just playing bad. No, Boone hasn't done anything here. He's been outmanaged by Cora and Cash for like the last 3 or 4 years or since he's been here. Now Baltimore is taking over as well. I just feel when you're in your face, there's no fear in this guy. You see Torres, like everybody's lazy. No, there's no fear in this guy. We need a new manager. We've been needing a new manager. I mean, even Mo has come out and said it a couple of years. Like, what has this guy done to for that first contract to even get an extension? What was the point of that? Like, he hasn't done anything. I just
so
feel
going to the American League Championship Series twice is not anything, right? That's what you're saying. I just want to make sure I understand. So going to the American League Championship Series means nothing to you.
It means something, but
so then you can't say he's done nothing. Can't say he's done nothing.
That's not the. But that's not the goal. The goal.
Well, you know what? I think the goal line has to change. Cap, I can't blame you because that's what you've been sold your whole life. The goal line is ridiculous. It can't be that, because if it was that, he wouldn't be here, right? Am I right? If it was that, he wouldn't be here.
But I don't know how you adjust that. The Yankees can't come out and have a press conference and say, by the way, our mission statement has changed. We are just satisfied with going to the playoffs.
Well, the fact that they haven't fired him,
right? Well, actions speak
would lead you to believe that the line has changed.
Yeah, actions speak louder than words. But this current regime also let go of Joe Girardi. So, the caller didn't say it, but and there were probably other reasons why Joe was let go. But Joe went to the League Championship Series and won a championship. That didn't save his job. So I could see a fan sitting there going, well, you're talking about going to the League Championship Series twice. Well, Joe Girardi lost his job. He won a championship. And the last year he was manager of the team, they went to Game 7 of the League Championship Series. Aaron Boone's never done that.
But Don, I think that the reason that Joe Girardi was let go was because he wasn't ooey-gooey enough with the players. They thought that he was a little too hard-edged, and it wasn't fun for the players. And also, I think he was pushing back a little bit on some of the interference. You're not going to get that manager again.
But the reason that they want you to embrace the analytics, the reason why they want you to be ooey-gooey with the players is because they wanted a better result, and that we haven't seen that. That's the way the fans look at it and go, well, obviously you let go of Joe Girardi because you think you could do better. Or is it just that it was different? Like, yeah, we could be fine with Joe Girardi, but the players might be unhappy, and we wouldn't like the direction that we were going into, even though the result was the same. So it still comes across as that the result, I guess, at the end of the day, didn't matter as much because the guy you replaced him with hasn't been able to have as much success ultimately with the championships as Joe Girardi did. So that alone tells you that maybe it's not the end result that they're looking at.
Well, I think it's the process, which is such a 2024 word.
Right.
Because there's no way in what was a rebuilding year, and you go to the 7th game of the ALCS, and I think you lose 2-1, that you would, justifiably fire a manager. So it was about stylistics.
Right.
And it was about a process. They didn't like the process that Joe Girardi had. They love the process of Aaron Boone. They just do. But I kind of laugh, though, when Cap, and we get a lot of these calls, he's been outmanaged. Really? Why? Because some of the moves that he's made didn't work? And the other team wins? That doesn't mean you're always outmanaged. It means maybe the other teams play better.
No, but then now we're running into that same circle of if we're not going to criticize them, then we can't compliment them either. So there is no value. So if all of a sudden the Yankees turn it around, Michael, are we supposed to then throw roses at Aaron Boone when we were telling him it wasn't his fault when things were falling apart? Like, that's the problem I have is that it doesn't feel like that there really should be anything thrown towards the manager. All this is organizational. So if we can't criticize him, then why should we be allowed to praise him?
And that's why, and you've heard me say this a million times, if they fire Aaron Boone, it is a total strike of hypocrisy. He's doing everything in lockstep with exactly how they want it done. So if he is a scapegoat if they fire him. I'm not advocating or protesting. I'm just telling you, if he loses his job, it is the height of hypocrisy. Unless over the last 3 months he goes rogue and starts trashing players and starts not listening to the numbers. But he has been the perfect soldier over 6.5 years. Perfect. And it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out not because of him. It doesn't work out because people have gotten injured. The rosters have not been perfect. And the people that they've gotten might not work out. Stanton hasn't worked out because he's always hurt. So far, Rodon hasn't worked out. That's why it hasn't worked. Not because of Aaron Boone. I'm sorry. Because for 70 games, this team was the best team in baseball. Nobody said a peep about Aaron Boone. Not a peep. Now, over the last 25 games, they're the worst team in baseball, and it's all on him. So, in answer to your question, Don, for 70 games, we lauded the players. Nobody came on here and said how great Aaron Boone was, but nobody criticized him, which is the way you think it should be. But now they lose over the last 25 games, and it's his fault. Is that fair?
No.
Because we didn't give him any praise. But for 70 games, he didn't get any praise.
But like I said, I just think it's a lot of fans grasping at straws and doing the easy. Firing the manager or head coach is the easy thing to do when you don't have any answers. Even organizations sometimes, hey, we just needed a change. We needed just to change it up a little bit. You can't get rid of 25 players or 26 players, so let's just get rid of the manager. It's an easy, lazy analysis when you got nothing else.
I know. It's not fair. And I believe that if they don't make the playoffs or if they get knocked out in the first round, he will be fired. Just because they have to give something to the fans. They have to. Well, you cannot continue to ignore the fan base who's just really red hot. I wouldn't fire him. I wouldn't fire him in midseason, even if they continue to lose, because he's doing everything the way they want him to do it. At the end of the year, he will get fired because you have to throw chum to the fans.
I mean, when was the last time they fired a manager in season? That was probably going back to.
It was before. Stump? It was Stump. No. It was Bucky.
Bucky Dent. And that's over 30 years.
That was 1990, yeah.
I mean, that's before Cashman was the general manager, and he had only been with the organization for 4 years.
Right.
No, they just don't do that. But you just said it would be the height of hypocrisy. But I guess that would be hypocritical, even if they fired him if they got bounced early or didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they feel that they would have to give something to the fans, and they would know how hypocritical it is. And I will tell you what, if they fired him and Brian Cashman called him into the office and told him, I think Brian couldn't even look him in the eye. He would have a hard time looking him in the eye and go, you know what, we're going to have to let you go. Why? I've done everything you wanted me to do. Yeah, I know, but we got to let you go.
We're going to bring in someone else to also make them do the same thing, and then we'll just repeat this pattern.
And also, when you talk about hypocrisy, to have Brian do it. Because he obviously is somebody that's responsible for this. If we're talking about roster construction and no talent, and it doesn't have to fall under Brian's purview, so at what point is he called on the carpet? Matter of fact, I'm not calling for anybody's job, Michael, but if anybody I think has to have the crosshairs, it's Brian more than Aaron.
And I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's an unending trust between Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman.
But that's not good either. If we're talking about problems with the players, then that's a Brian problem.
Now, let's play the what-if game, though. Let's say the Yankees either don't make the playoffs or lose in the first round in that best-of-3 wild card. And they announce they've given Boone a 3-year contract. What's the reaction going to be? That's what I'm saying. I think the fans would rebel. Wouldn't they?
Well, not so much because of Aaron coming back in the sense of Aaron being the manager moving forward. It would just be, is anybody going to be held accountable for what just happened? You got to do something at that. There has to be some accountability for 2 straight years of missing the playoffs when the mission statement is to win a championship. And we know that's fugazi, but that's what's out there. That's what the fans are all calling based on. There's got to be somebody held accountable for this, and it can't be a hitting coach, pitching coach, strength and conditioning coach. It has to be somebody somebody significant that would have to pay in some way. There's got to be some.
Well, the only significant people are Cashman and Boone. There's no other significant people.
Well, then, but what would move the needle more?
What do you mean?
Meaning, like, if you miss the play, if they just never get up from this slump and miss the playoffs, and you wanted to make a move that was going to change the direction of this franchise, wouldn't Brian be the one to change more so than Aaron? So you're going to fire the guy that didn't have a roster.
If you ever got rid of Brian, and I don't think Brian's going anywhere unless he decides he wants to step away. But if you got rid of Brian, the new GM's going to bring in his own manager. And I also believe that if you got rid of Brian, you know what? It's going to be somebody on the staff that gets the job. That's why I say if you got rid of Boone, it's going to be Boone 2.0. And if Brian decides to step down, it's going to be somebody from Brian's staff.
So this is what's frustrating to the fans, Michael, is that this is the way that it's going to be. It's not going to change. And you just hope at some point you step into a championship. There is nothing that's going to happen that's going to change the way this organization is run. The audit turned out to be garbage, right? We're not even sure it even happened. That was supposed to be a big misunderstanding. The general manager's got a job for life. The manager, maybe he doesn't have a job for life, but if he's replaced, an identical replica of him would replace him. So this is it. So I don't even know why fans even complain at this point. Because there's nothing that's going to happen that's going to change anything of substance. Am I wrong, or that's kind of what you just said?
I don't think anything of substance is going to happen.
And Don, this is why today when we got on the phone, I groaned the most. Not only is it a repeat pattern of every season the same thing, expectation, great start sliding, stumble into the playoffs, no repercussions. It's just over and over again. And then the frustrating part that I feel bad for fans is that because it's all kind of explained away through analytics, there's not even any place to direct your anger. You just have to scream in your closet. It's a really frustrating situation for fans.